Once again, welcome to our webinar on Discovering NetApp, Empowering Your Data Journey. In this insightful session, we will explore NetApp's latest innovations in ONTAP, BlueXP, and ransomware protection, and how we can leverage these technologies for hybrid cloud success. In today's session, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A, and we'll answer them during the webinar. Without further ado, let me welcome Mr. Eli, who is an experienced senior solutions engineer, Mia at NetApp, to start with the webinar. Over to you, Eli. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Anna, for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's webinar. I'm honored to be here with you to explain to you a little bit more about NetApp and to excite you a little bit about what we do. So I've been with NetApp for 5 years. I'm part of the Dubai office, and I'm happy to be presenting to you today. So let's begin. In today's agenda, we'll be discussing a little bit about who NetApp is in the market, what's our vision, how can we achieve that vision, what's our cloud strategy, how can we achieve our hybrid multi-cloud strategy, a little bit about our data mobility capabilities, our ONTAP features and integrations, our value-added services, what can we give you on-prem, and then the cherry on top is the topic of today's hype is ransomware and how can we protect ourselves from the ransomware. So what's our vision? The explosion of data in these days is scary, is really scary. Every single person in the world can generate 1.7 megabytes of data per second in 2025. 1.7 megabytes per second. This means, sorry, I'm extremely sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so this means over 328 million terabytes every single day. This growth is incredible, right? And with every data growth, it comes with a set of challenges, right? So whenever our data grows and expands this way, it comes with a lot of challenges, such as how can I manage that data? How can I protect that data, right? How can I unlock its value? So this is where our value is as NetApp, and this is where we can help you. So again, across several areas, NetApp has been leaders in the market since 2002, right? We were the first company to go ahead and create a unified operating system to give the customers the possibility to have file and block workloads, structured and unstructured data at the same operating system. 2002, we were, again, visionaries back then. We knew that this is going to be needed. So we started with that, right? The next step was everyone started looking towards cloud. So hybrid cloud became a thing. So we were the first to create our own vision, which is called data fabric, right? So this strategy eliminates silos, right? And gives customers unified control across wherever their data is, on-prem and on the cloud. And that's the key, to have a great experience. And then it's not about hybrid cloud only. It's about hybrid multi-clouds, because right now you have multiple hyperscalers that can give you great values. Each one has their own value based on a specific offering that they can give you. So as a customer, I want the flexibility. I want the choice to be able to choose which service I want to host it where. This is where we can help. Why? Because we can give a great experience and the same experience wherever your data is, and we will give you the flexibility to move your workloads from one hyperscaler to another in a very easy way. But even that was not enough, because we've realized that we need to be able to give you intelligence in your where you're hosting your data. So the software layer of the operating system that we're giving you needs to be intelligent enough to be able to give you the observability, the manageability, the security, the smartness across wherever your data is. This is why we can call ourselves the intelligent data infrastructure company, because we're giving you intelligence where you are hosting your data, and that's the key. And I will show you throughout this webinar how we can do that. But first, let's start with a quick poll. So this poll number 1 and not number 2, excuse us. So Anna, can you please put the poll? You can put the first poll. So this poll is Anna, you're there, right?
Yes, I
Okay.
started with the first poll. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this poll is just a we want to understand how much you know about NetApp solutions. So I'll give you half a minute, and then we will go ahead and continue. Okay. Anna, can we see the results, please? I cannot see the results.
So 50% of them have opted for heard of NetApp but never used the products. And 29% comes next, that is somewhat familiar. We have evaluated NetApp before.
Okay.
And the close third is this is my first time learning about NetApp. Yeah.
That's perfect. I love this because we have a mixture of people that haven't heard of NetApp, people that have heard of NetApp, but they haven't tried, and we have existing customers. Thank you for your trust. So let's continue. How can we give you the intelligence? How can we achieve that? Right? So again, through sets of data services, but those data services will help you have simplicity. That's the key, because with the explosion of data, I have to have a simple way of managing, right? The workloads, eliminating silos across applications, data, and clouds. I need to be able to give you savings to make sure you're efficient in the way you're doing business, right? Because we understand that budgets are shrinking with time, and everyone knows that on this. Sustainability, again, this is another key thing, because power is costing money, right? So if I'm being able to be sustainable, to be energy efficient, that's great. That will save me a lot of money. That will make me feel good about the environment as well, right? Security. Security is the key, because whatever you do, you lose everything with a single attack. And we will talk about that in a bit in the ransomware protection. AI. I'm sure everyone is using already AI. Everyone is using ChatGPT, right? So this is on the personal level. And on the corporate level, I'm sure that if you haven't used AI yet, you are planning to use AI. So AI is a key. And then in order for us to be able to create a good AI project or to benefit from AI, we have set of challenges as well. So we need to be able to have to make sure our AI projects are successful. This is where we can help as well, right? Scalability. Again, scalability is a key. I need to be able to be scalable wherever my data needs to be, not only on-prem, not only scale out, so not only scale up, sorry, scale up, scale out on different performance tiers, scale out to the cloud, scale out to a hybrid multi-cloud environment. Again, with scaling this much, you have a set of challenges. This is where we come, this is where we can help. How can we do that? It's ONTAP. So what is ONTAP for the people that haven't heard of NetApp, right? ONTAP is the main product that has been created since 1992, 34 34 years, 35 years now. NetApp is 35-year-old company. We started with ONTAP. This is where we started, right? So what is ONTAP? So ONTAP is a comprehensive data management software, right? What does it give you? It gives us automation, efficiency, data protection, data security, right? Across a unified environment, file, block, object. So let's say you're a customer. Your current use case is ERP, virtual machines, VDI. You need a performance system, right? You start with NetApp with a performance flash system. In a year time, you have another use case. You don't need performance anymore. You need more data. You need more unstructured data. You need a hybrid system. That's very easy. We can cluster another system that gives you the capability to have a hybrid flash environment clustered with a performance flash environment. Let's say in another year time, you have another use case that does not require sub-millisecond latency, but it requires a decent performance at the same time. I'll give you another performance tier. So these are 3 different performance tiers clustered together with 100 GB network switches to give you the flexibility to move your workloads seamlessly across systems based on your performance needs, performance or capacity needs as well. This is the flexibility that we give you. You can scale up by adding shells to those systems, and you can scale out. And when you scale out, we don't limit you with the same type of system. We don't say, no, you know what? You started with performance flash. In the same cluster, you're going to have to continue with performance flash. No, we don't say that. You have the flexibility to scale out a different type of system. We never tell you, you know what, you need to be, you started with a high-end system, you're going to have to scale out with another high-end system. No. You can cluster an entry-level system with a mid-range system with a high-end system. All of them having the same features and functions and capabilities across the same operating system. That's the flexibility that we give you. Whenever I'm consulting a customer that has 500 TB plus, right? And they tell me, you know what? I want an all-flash system. All of my data requires sub-millisecond latency system. That's not correct. And if you think about it really in your data centers, you will find out that no, not all of your data center or not all of your data requires sub-millisecond latency. So what we would do as consultants to you is to create a good environment that gives you a mixture of performance tiers with the capability of moving your workloads online without interruptions across your environments, right? So again, you can scale out as we've mentioned, and you can even scale out to the cloud, not only on-prem. So I know that not all of you have maybe cloud requirements, but maybe some of you have. So having the flexibility of having the same operating system running on any of the big hyperscalers, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, this is the key because you have the same operating system that you are managing from your interface. Migrating your data is seamless because you're using our replication technology. You're using our security keys to protect your data. So this is key. You're using our management interface to manage your environment wherever your data is. Again, all of the services that you're seeing on the right? Unified multi-protocol access. You can have your S3 buckets, right? You can access them via HTTPS or even SMB. You can access the same data at the same time. This gives you a lot of flexibility. Virtualization. So when I tell you you can move your data seamlessly between one system and another, how can do that? Because we use virtualization. Similar to VMware virtualizing the CPU and memory, we virtualize all of the resources on the storage system to be able to have that data mobility. The virtualization, we call it SVM, storage virtual machine, to be able to move those SVMs from one performance tier to another online This is what we do. We use virtualization. Adaptive quality of service is something very important for you to be able to give every workload the performance requirements that it needs, right? Very efficient replication, caching, data tiering, security and compliance, everything is built in inside ONTAP. So you've seen I spent a lot of time on the slide because everything that we do, most of it, all of the services is reliant on what ONTAP can do, the power of ONTAP. Unified operating system that has a lot of data services embedded, built inside of it, and gives you a great value across wherever your data is. I'm gonna have a pause to tell you, please, whenever you have a question, go to the questions. You can type your questions in, and I have my colleague Amir on the line. He's a fellow solutions engineer who will be supporting you and answering all of your questions on the chat. Thank you, Amir, for your support. So to continue, again, ONTAP, it's built to adapt to anything, right? Any application, high performance file, virtual machines, databases, Kubernetes, data lakes, cloud storage, ERP, test and dev environments, right? You can have multiple types of applications throughout any virtualization engine, VMware, Hyper-V, KVM, right? Any protocol, file, block, object, unified, wherever your data requires to be. On premises, different type of performance tiers, private clouds, first party cloud, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. This is the flexibility that ONTAP gives you, right? What does ONTAP have? All of these features and functions are built in. We never tell you, you know what, for you to be able to have ransomware protection, you're going to have to deploy a physical appliance or a virtual appliance or pay extra amount of money for a license. No, we never say that. Everything is built in, and you will see that, right? So enterprise features, very efficient snapshot, very efficient replication, autonomous ransomware protection, worm capability, snaplock, write once, read many, encryption, multi-factor multi-factor authentication, multi-admin verification, predictive analytics via active IQ, quality of service, automatic tiering, efficiency, dedupe, compression, compaction. All of these are inside ONTAP, and all of them are inside a single license. This is amazing. Imagine you don't need to pay for anything else. It's there since day one. You just go ahead and utilize it. Okay, worm capability, locking, ransomware protection, replication. You know that a lot of vendors will tell you, you know what? You're going to need a physical appliance to do replication. You're going to need a virtual appliance or a physical appliance to do ransomware protection. Do you know why they say that? Because these are companies that they have purchased and they have not integrated into their operating systems yet. And I don't think they ever will. So the difference between them and NetApp, we've built our own capabilities. The autonomous ransomware protection, our engineers built that inside ONTAP. The quality of service, our engineers built that. The worm capability, the replication, it's built in because we've built it. So this is the difference between NetApp and other companies. Let's go into poll number 2, please, Anna. Can we do that?
It's launching now.
Okay, perfect. What's your biggest data storage challenge today? So we know that we have a lot of challenges whenever we go with an influx of data. So it's very intriguing to understand what are your challenges right now. Let's see. What do you think, Anna, would be the first challenge?
Maybe ensuring data protection and compliance. Let's see.
Okay, let's see. Okay, you have enough answers?
I think the poll has not started. We encourage everyone to start with a poll.
Okay. So security risks. Oh, we have a tie. No. So security risks wins. That's very intriguing because I have a full section of security and ransomware protection. So that's very good. So again, ensuring data protection and compliance, security risks, managing rapid data growth, controlling costs. All of those are very important. Uh, integrating with cloud providers. No one answered integrating with cloud providers. So this means uh, the interest in cloud is not very important for you guys. But anyway, let's continue because right now I'm talking about cloud. So I know it might not intrigue you a lot, but it might. So I'm gonna just talk about what can we do on the cloud. So again, as we discussed, right, ONTAP. And I told you we can scale out, and I told you we can scale out to the cloud, and that's very important. So how we can do that? So cloud volumes ONTAP, it's the same operating system bundled as a virtual appliance that we can run on any hyperscaler, right? AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. So all of the features and functions that I already told you about is there as well, which means I can have, like, people might ask, why on earth I need to pay for NetApp for cloud licenses? I can just go ahead, take my credit card, and rent CPU, memory, disk, network, security, and then run my workload on the cloud directly. Why I need to go to NetApp to pay extra licenses for ONTAP? And this is very important because all of the services that are built in Cloud Volumes ONTAP or CVO is there to help you save money on your cloud bill. So, right, you're paying NetApp extra licenses for ONTAP, but at the end of the day, you're saving on the long term on your cloud bill. How can you do that? First, efficiencies, dedupe compression, compaction, right? You're not going to get efficiencies on the cloud. You're going to pay per terabyte. NetApp, by having efficiencies, we can help you. Deduplication, compression, compaction, all of that helps you a lot in saving money on your cloud infrastructure bill, right? So efficiencies. Thin provisioning, again, you're not going to get thin provisioning on the cloud. Um, Tiering. So automatic tiering helps you tier your cold blocks to a cheaper tier, or to Blob as an example, or to S3 on AWS. So again, you're not going to get tiering in the cloud, right? So by that, automatic tiering will help you save a lot of money. Caching as well. Quality of service helps you a lot. So all of those, multi-protocol access on the cloud, this is key. All of those features helps you in saving money. So Cloud Volumes ONTAP is your own storage system managed by you on the cloud, as if you have your own physical system on a DR site. Same case, you have your own virtual storage system running on AWS or Azure or Google Cloud, managed by you, maintained by you, similar to having your own system on another site. Now, the first party is something different. AWS, Google Cloud, and Azure have their own services running on NetApp technology. What does this mean? Let's take an example, Azure NetApp Files. Azure NetApp Files is a Microsoft product sold, operated, managed, and supported by Azure, by Microsoft. So we cannot sell it. We don't sell it. We don't tell you go ahead and take licenses. No, this is a Microsoft product, but it's running on NetApp technology. So in the Azure NetApp Files case, Microsoft took some physical boxes from NetApp, hardwired inside their data centers. As an example, in the UAE, Azure NetApp Files is available on all of the Azure data centers, right? So it's a physical box sold. They sell you the enterprise file share, right? They support you, and they have a back-end support with NetApp. But it's running, so you will be having an enterprise file share running on Microsoft Azure data centers, but physically it's running on a NetApp system. How can they do that? How can they run thousands on customers on the same physical system? Secure multi-tenancy. Again, because they can make sure with secure multi-tenancy, there is no way you have data leakage between an SVM and another SVM, plus a quality of service. So they have 3 performance tiers. They sell Azure NetApp files based on performance tiers. So based on those performance tiers, they can guarantee that you will have a minimum performance based on what they're renting you. So AWS and Google Cloud, very similar. So all of those services, you can have your own cloud services with CVO, and you can have a first party based on NetApp technology, but sold and supported by the hyperscalers. So again, this is what NetApp can do on the cloud. And it says a lot that all of the major hyperscalers specifically chose NetApp to deal with and to take our technology and utilize it as their own service. This means that we're doing things in a nice, in a correct way, right? Again, ONTAP, whatever you need it. On-prem, first party, Amazon FSxN, Azure NetApp Files, Google Cloud NetApp Volumes, or your own storage on the cloud, which is NetApp Cloud Volumes ONTAP. Again, different performance tier and different price points as well. So CVO can be kind of for low cost, secondary use cases, maybe archival, maybe backups. You can have something in between, right? So best price / performance, you can have FSxN, ANF, NetApp volumes for file shares, databases, and for high performance, again, FSxN scale out, ANF premium and ultra, you can have NetApp volumes premium and Extreme as well. Maybe this could be Gen AI, HPC, databases, these kind of workloads. Okay, now I've spoken and I've explained to you our hybrid multi-cloud story, but how can we make that easy and achieve it? BlueXP, what is BlueXP, right? So BlueXP is a unified management console. It helps you manage whatever you own from NetApp perspective, wherever your data is from a single interface. So powerful AI ops, right? It gives you simplicity. Again, we've spoken about simplicity, integrated services, all of the services that NetApp gives you to consume from security, from data classification, from manageability, from data protection, all of it, you can consume it from a single interface. And that's the key, because if we didn't do that, it wouldn't make sense, right? We would be lying to you with a hybrid multi-cloud story. So it makes sense to have this interface. So who uses BlueXP? Anyone. Application owners, architects, IT managers, storage admins, security admins, finance. So you can create multiple types of personas, and if every type of persona would have access to a specific thing. So this flexibility is very important, and you can see it looks like what the experience that you would get when you deal with the hyperscalers, right? And it makes sense this way. What can you consume? You can do a lot of things related to the storage, discover, deploy, manage, right? Monitoring, reporting, real-time events, they're very important. Health, to uncover and address risk factors, right? Protection, ransomware, data protection, backup, governance, flexible consumption, data classification. That's very important. Mobility, to be able to move your data from somewhere to another place, on-prem or cloud. Again, this is a great thing to have, right? And then how does it look like? It's a very intuitive interface. Look at the canvas. It shows you every single one of those clouds. It resembles an environment. So you can have multiple environments on-prem, multiple types of systems, not only ONTAP. You can have a different types of systems on-prem from NetApp you can manage. So again, every single thing that you own from NetApp will show in here. And you can have drag and drop capabilities to replicate, to tier. Very nice interface. This is what it looked like. One very important feature that I wanted to mention is data classification, because imagine you have a data lake of, I don't know, let's assume 500 terabytes of data, even 100 terabytes. If you think about it, you would know that most of the time you have a lot of repeated data. You have a lot of stale data that has not been touched for years. It's sitting there, you're doing nothing with it. You can't really delete it because you don't know when would someone access it, right? So you need to be able to have an engine that classifies your data, that gives you understandability. You need to understand what do you have, right? So you can locate personal data, sensitive data, regulated data. That's important. If you need some reporting, maybe, I don't know, you have compliance data, you need to comply and you need reports for that compliance. You can easily do that. Identify stale data, duplicate data, non-essential data. You can create, you understand what is your archival tier, how much would it cost if you move that data into an archival tier. Discover, classify, and categorize data across endpoints. Again, we're not talking about a single place that your data is. Everywhere your data is. File level forensics and system auditing. Again, compliance reports. So all of those are, this is a core capability of BlueXP that you will get for free whenever your data is on ONTAP. Now, a little bit about data mobility capabilities. So you might think everyone has snapshots, right? Why would you even discuss your snapshot capability? Because we're really proud of it. It's like our pride. I've added that, not our marketing team, because I really like what we can do in our snapshot capability. And it's the key on everything related to data movement and data security. Okay, what can we do? So we do something called redirect on write, which means whenever we take a snapshot, that snapshot is read only, right? It's instantaneous and it does not contain data. What does this mean? Let's take an example. I have a file, an Excel file of, I don't know, 1 megabyte or whatever, right? So it's split into blocks. You know that every single piece of data that needs to be written on the storage system is split into blocks. Let's assume I have that file and it's split into blocks A, B, C. The first snapshot I take is going to be pointers towards block A, block B, and block C. Now, someone opened that file, changed something in it. Block B has changed. What do? We create a new block. We call it B1 with the changes. Now, when I take another snapshot, the pointers towards block A and C are still the same. I'm only changing one pointer towards a new block. So you can imagine how fast it is, because I'm not doing anything. I'm not writing anything. I'm not copying anything. It's just the snapshot is the old pointers are still the same. I'm only changing one pointer towards a new block. That's it. Similar to snapshot copy number 3. Block A and B1 are still the same. Only block C1 has changed from C to C1. I only change a single pointer, right? From block C towards block C1. So you can imagine how efficient it is every single time I'm taking a snapshot. So this efficiency means whenever I move my data, it's going to be very efficient as well, from replication, from cloning, and I'll explain this in a bit. So again, the thing that you should focus on when talking about our snapshot is it's immutable. You cannot change anything in it because there's no data. It's only pointers, right? So it cannot be infected in ransomware. Plus, it's very efficient. Now, to continue, because I'm going to keep referring to the snapshot, right? So the first thing that we can do very efficiently when we talk about data movement is cloning. So now, since I have the snapshot, I can create a clone of the same data instantaneously because I'm not copying anything. It's just pointers, right? So I have snapshot 1, right? At time 0, I have volume 1, I have snapshot 1, right? So whenever I want to clone volume 1 to volume 1 prime, I just create clone. It will instantaneously give me volume 1 prime without copying anything. How can we do that? Because volume 1 prime and volume 1 at time 0 when I click clone are pointing towards the same snapshot. And that snapshot is pointing towards the same blocks. So at time 0, I have two volumes now, full volumes that are pointing towards the same blocks. So if I want to read, I can read from both instantaneously. So there's no capacity penalty because I'm not copying anything. It's the same blocks. No performance penalty because I'm not using the CPU and memory of the storage system to do anything. This is an instantaneous thing, right? No cost penalty because I'm not consuming capacity. I'm not consuming CPU and memory. It's instantaneous. And it's very nice. Whenever I have volume 1 prime, I have both ready for me to consume, right? To read. When I want to write on volume 1 prime, this is where I start creating new blocks with new pointers. This is where I start accumulating data on volume 1 prime. So theoretically, I can create 1,000 clones instantaneously. So imagine what can you do in test and dev environments in such a technology. Replication. Again, if I'm using that efficient snapshot, my replication is going to be amazing because now I can replicate huge amounts of data from one environment to another, from main to DR, from on-prem to any cloud in a very efficient way. Because that replication honors the efficiencies, dedupe, compression, compaction. All of the efficiencies are there. So if I have 3-to-1 deduplication on my on-prem and I replicate into the cloud, sorry, I'm effectively replicating 1/3 of my data. So imagine when you move the data from the cloud to another cloud or from cloud to on-prem, how much egress cost you will save with our efficiencies, right? So again, this is from application perspective. Now, when we talk about Snapper replication, we have different tiers of replication, right? Based on what kind of RTO and RPO I require. Again, RPO is how much data I would lose until I recover, right? When I'm replicating, if my RPO is 15 minutes, this means whenever I have a failure, I will lose maximum 15 minutes of data from my main site. If my RPO is 0, I'm synchronously replicating, right? So the tiers are from backup and archive to disaster recovery and then to business continuity. Now, this is what we can do, right? So we can do 1 week RPO. This is usually when your use case is backup or archive, right? You can do that to the cloud. You can do that to the vault it internally as a backup. You can have asynchronous replication, well, between 15 minutes to a day. I don't know. You can say, I want to schedule my replication within every hour. I need 12 replications per day. 24 replications per day, one every hour, right? Or every 30 minutes, or every 15 minutes, or every 5 minutes, right? So this is asynchronous. You can have synchronous replication as well, which means instantaneous data replication across both sites at the same time. If I lose main site, I won't lose any data on the DR site. Now, from when we talk about business continuity, we go into RTO. RTO means how much time would I need to get back up, to get my applications back up and running after a disaster. So if I need 5 minutes, this means if I have a failure in my main site, I need 5 minutes to make my applications up and running in the DR. This means my RTO is 5 minutes. So when you go 5 minutes and lower, this is called business continuity. This is where we have something called Snapper Active Sync and Metro Cluster that gives us automated my applications will be automatically up and running in the DR site. Okay? To continue, tiering. All of these features that I'm talking, the base of them are our snapshot technology. So tiering, I can tier my cold blocks from the main site, from a high performance tier to a cheaper tier. And that cheaper tier is an object storage. It could be an on-prem object storage, an on-prem NetApp or non-NetApp object storage. It can be any object storage on any cloud, S3 on Amazon, Blob on Microsoft, etc. Right? So, and this feature is very important because it's an automatic engine that you set once and you forget. So let's assume you put 2 days as an example. Every single block that has not been touched or accessed for 2 days, tier that block to a cold tier. What does it mean? So we monitor block temperature based on that metric that you decide once. So after 2 days, if a specific block is not accessed, it's very easy. The system will tier it to the cold tier. When we say tier, what does that mean? Tiering means we're not really copying the entire block. The metadata of that block is still on the main side. The actual data is there. So whenever anyone requests that file with those blocks that are already tiered, ONTAP will automatically hydrate those blocks and present them to the user. So again, it's a very efficient, very nice tool, and it's automatic. Caching. Caching is great. I have a lot of customers in the UAE that wanted to move their file share to Azure as an example. Okay, Tab. If I have a 10 terabyte file share on Azure, my users are still on-prem, but I have a little bit of latency in between. What can I do? I can use our caching engine to cache the hot blocks or the hot data next to the users on-prem. So I can cache maybe 500 GB out of those 10 terabytes on-prem. So the access of the users will always be on-prem. They would not be accessing directly the data from the cache from the cloud. They would be accessing the data from their cache, which is next to them. So, and the cache will automatically resynchronize the new write from on-prem to the cache to the main data set, which is on the cloud. Again, data protection. We have our own backup tool. It's called BlueXP Backup and Recovery. It's a great tool because it utilizes our snapshot technology, which is block level. Again, so block level replication, right? So you can back up to on-prem storage grid, which is our own object storage, or to any cloud. It retains storage efficiencies. That's very important. If you're having 4-to-1 efficiency on-prem, you will be replicating 1/4 of your data or quarter of your data. That's very important, right? You are backing up to object. So you don't really need a hardware on-prem. You can replicate, you can back up data directly to the cloud. And you have searchable indexes and very nice cataloging, files, folders, volume, like a single file. You can just go ahead, open that backup, get a single file. You can have a Google-like search for that file. You can retrieve only a single file. It's a very nice intuitive tool. Snap Center application. So that snapshot again is application aware, and that's very important because whenever you have a database, you need to be databases use memory a lot to have very fast access. So you always have data in the memory. If your snapshot does not integrate with the databases, that's the problem. You will have corruption. So it needs to be able to integrate with those databases again and those applications, and that's the key. So Snap Center is our tool that it's a single pane of glass to take snapshots for applications, databases, host file systems, and VMs, right? It's a very efficient way to copy your data and to do data management for your backups, accelerated application development, right? And again, our snapshots are secure from ransomware. So as you can see, you have Exchange, Oracle, SQL, SAP HANA, Windows, VMware, and you have custom supporters as well. Other than that, IBM DB2, SAP, PostgreSQL, and you can have your own homegrown application. We can have integration with our snapshot technology as well through our open APIs. Again, this is something very important. SnapVault, you can have your own backup through our tool without even having a backup technology, because SnapVault uses SnapMirror to replicate the data to another system, and then it vaults it for a specific period of time. And the nice thing about this is you can use SnapVault with SnapLock to lock those backups in a worm capability, write once, read many, in a way that no one can change any data in that backup for you, right? Until a specific period of time comes. Again, this is another tool that helps in the ransomware that I will be discussing it in a bit. Business continuity, SnapMirror ActiveSync, we discussed about that. So SnapMirror ActiveSync is a business continuity tool that integrates with your hypervisor, as an example, VMware, and makes sure the application, in case you have a failure in the main site, the application continues to be up and running in the DR without interruptions. That's very important. BlueXP Disaster and Recovery, it's the tool specifically built for VMware to help you have an automated failover and switch back in case you have a disaster with VMware Engine. Again, you can have it on-prem to on-prem, on-prem to cloud, cloud to on-prem. So that's very important whenever you have, I don't know, VMware over AWS, VMC, as an example. You have an environment there, an environment on-prem. It will automate that failover and switch back. We have a lot of benefit. I'm going to remind you. So again, redirect on write in our snapshot technology, it's very efficient, very performant, because it helps you store snapshot with no performance impact, right? You can, it's very quick. You just need few clicks and few seconds to create, replicate, store, clone any snapshot, right? Application consistent and very important, specifically with ERP applications and databases. And from cloning is very efficient, very space efficient, and instantaneous, and does not take any other, it doesn't cost a lot of money. Other integrations, open APIs and orchestration, that's very important. As I've mentioned in a bit with SnapCenter, I told you, if you have your homegrown applications and you want that snapshot to integrate with that, you can do that, because we have open APIs, right? We integrate with very simple integration with Ansible, Python, PowerShell toolkits. It helps you a lot. We have a complete API documentations that available with our management tools that help you to easily automate a lot of things inside NetApp. NetApp and VMware is a love story, more than 20 years of strategic partnership. We have 20,000 joint customers, right? So out of the Fortune 50 companies, 62% of them are running VMware over NetApp. We do a lot of research and development with VMware, so that shows you how deep our relationship with VMware is. Again, enterprise applications and databases, as I told you, we have validated designs, highly resilient infrastructure, like we can give you 6 nines of guarantees for your applications and databases, very simple operations, built-in data protection. Again, when we say built-in data protection, the snapshot that integrates with all of those. So it's the key for that. Kubernetes. I'm sure a lot of you uses microservices and Kubernetes. So again, we have a very nice integrated Kubernetes environment or tools integrated in ONTAP free of charge. We do not charge you for whatever you want to do with Kubernetes. Manage, migrate your Kubernetes applications a very easy way across your environment. Again, we're not talking about a simple Kubernetes environment on-prem. No, we're talking about wherever your data is. Remember, the first thing I started with you is we help you throughout our data services to have the same experience wherever your data is. That's very important. Same thing for Kubernetes as well, right? Better connectivity and orchestration. And then you can see any workload, Kafka, Elasticsearch, Elastic, Cassandra, Spark, Amazon Redshift, any Kubernetes, Tanzu, Rancher, OpenShift, EKS, you name it, right? Our tool, Trident, this is what helps you to do automated provisioning, data protection, disaster recovery across everywhere your data is. And that's the key. Now, again, from artificial intelligence, every single one of you is using ChatGPT, I'm sure of that. And every single entity, if they haven't started using AI, they're thinking of how can I use AI? And then if you think about it, in any environment, data is the key for any AI, successful AI project. Because what is AI really, right? It's being able to have an intelligent brain to go through your data and gives you very quick answers and create things for you in a very fast way. How can they do that if they don't have a streamlined access to that data? And that's very important. So wherever your data is, on-prem, hybrid cloud, public clouds, right? That's very important. You need to have streamlined access. You need to have specific latency. Uh, you need to have an integrated and intelligent environment for your data. You need to be able to have a scalable environment and performant environment, because you might require different types of performance tiers for different types of data, for different types of AI engine, right? And then if you do not secure your data, you have failed your AI project, because you've lost your competitive edge. Your competition can have access to your data. So again, all of those are very important. This is why NetApp is a key for AI projects, because we give you intelligent infrastructure across wherever your data is to be able to have successful AI projects. Okay? Now, ransomware protection. Anna, we need your third poll, please. That's
Yeah.
that's a
I'm
very
just launching
important.
it.
Let's
Yeah.
let's see what would you answer that poll, and I will have a sip of water in the meantime. So what do you feel the biggest challenge today is in against ransomware? Let's see. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. I can see the results are keep changing, but they kind of reflect in a very nice way. So it looks like the answers are the main 2 or 3 are the first 3: detecting ransomware attacks early before damage happens. That's very important. Recovering data quickly and minimizing downtime. So in case I got attacked, I need to be able to act very fast, very quick, right? And then the third one is kind of ensuring backups and snapshots aren't compromised. And then that's another very important thing. Thank you, Anna. So let's continue. We all know that cyber attacks are scary, right? So look at that fact. A cyber attack happens every 39 seconds. And over 60% of small businesses close within 6 months of a major breach. Imagine how devastating ransomware attacks are for small businesses, because they cannot do anything about it, right? You don't want to wake up to this. That's really scary. I had a friend working at a company once. He sent me a screenshot in the morning. I woke up to that thing, very similar to this. You have been hacked. You need to pay a ransom or else you'll lose your data. It's really scary because it disrupts your routine in any company, and it costs you a lot of money. So again, the problem with ransomware is it's just not static, right? So ransomware 5 years ago is not ransomware today. It's changing and evolving in a very scary way, right? So right now we know the impact of social media. Social media takes a lot of our time. We spend a lot of time over there, so it's very easy for people to be attacked through social media. Like it makes it very easy, right? And people are accessible this way. Compromised admin credentials. If they get access to your administrator, they will go ahead and delete your backups or lock your backups. Again, this is one of the answers. It's scary. Imagine hitting your backup first and then hitting your main data. You lost everything. Ransomware as a service. Has anyone heard of ransomware as a service? It's scary how easy these days to attack people. So we have very nice people, helpful people. They created nice tools on the dark web. All you need to do is to access those tools. They have ransomware as a service, which means you get a subscription with them and ask them to hit your competitor. They will do it for you. They will give you support. They will give you a very nice interface. It's that easy. You don't have to be a guru these days for you to hit people in ransomware, right? And then even they're using artificial intelligence and machine learning to do deep fakes, to impersonate people and hit and do their attacks through impersonating managers, talking to workers, through chat, to phone calls. It's really scary. But very important note is security is a layered approach. It's never only one thing. I'm sure in all of your environments you have perimeter security, you have network security, maybe application security, endpoint security, right? You have your human layer. This is the first line of security. This is where the attacks happen always. So whatever any vendor tells you, no one can do everything. If me, Ali, comes and tell you, you know what? I will make sure you will never be attacked with ransomware. I'll be lying. You can easily tell me, Ali, you're lying to our face. No one can do that. Even FBI, CIA are being attacked. Pentagon. What does this mean? What I'm telling you in here is don't give up, but make sure you get your focus on every single one of those layers. Where do we fall? Where do we focus? On the data security layer and mission critical asset. So we are the last line of defense around what's really important in your environment, which is your data. If you really think about it, in any data center, what's the most valuable asset that you have? It's the data, right? So why do you have servers to run operating systems, for them to run applications, for them to serve your data, to read and write your data? Why do you have networking switches? For them to be able to float your data between systems. Why do you get perimeter firewalls? For them to protect your data. Everything revolves around your data. This is why what we do is very critical from security perspective. So this is where we come into, again, we speak about ONTAP, built-in ransomware protection solution. We never tell you, go ahead and deploy this physical appliance. No, it's built in. AI-powered ransomware protection embedded in the storage system, and that's a key. Embedded, and it's complementary, free of charge, right? So our BlueXP ransomware protection, it's a very nice, intelligently orchestrated set of data services and software that helps you focus on protecting yourself. And it's based on the US National Institute of Standards and Technology, the NIST framework. That's very important. So again, we're not only reactive, we're proactive. One of the answers was, everyone answered, like the majority answered it, we need to be able to react before we get attacked and to try to catch the attack before it happens. And that's the key. This is where we fall. Every single vendor, mostly the backup vendors, will come and tell you, you need to be able to secure your backup. In case you got attacked, you'll go back to the backup. This is 100% valid, 100%. But with that, you need to be able to be proactive and try to catch the attack from even happening. That's the key. This is what we do. So we try to automatically identify, right, the workloads, to analyze risks, and try to sniff out anything abnormal happening in your environment before it happens. Second, we help you recommend and apply protection policies based on scenarios. If this happened, do that. We try to have a machine learning and AI engine to detect potential attacks near real time for zero-day attacks, and that's very important. We automatically respond when the attack is suspected. We try to minimize the attack window as much as possible. We try to go into seconds, okay? And then, very important thing is to really have secure backups that are immutable and cannot be touched by a ransomware in case we got hit and attacked. Again, it all starts here, our snapshot copies. This is the basis of data movement and even data security. Remember, again, these are immutable. They cannot be infected by ransomware, right? You can restore petabytes in seconds or even minutes. That's very important. You can monitor those snapshots. Do I have an abnormal growth? Right? So again, that's very important. But if you think about it, they can still be deleted, right? So let's assume you have you are relying, if you sniff anything, you'll just directly take a snapshot. If you have a compromised administrator, they can still go ahead and delete. I'll tell you in a bit what we will do with that. So in the detection, one of the nice tools that we have is called NetApp policy. This is an embedded tool. It has two modes, native and external, right? The native is, it has a list of approximately right now there's 3,000 known ransomware extensions, .lck, whatever, right? That usually when you try to encrypt a file, you change the file extension as well. So this tool will block all of those well-known file extensions. So if you are someone is trying to attack you to encrypt your files, they will lock those directly in a way that you will not be able to omit that file on the storage system. This is the first line of defense. Second, this F policy has an external mode that integrates with SIM systems and event management, right? We have a lot of partners such as Veritas, Varonis, Stealthbit, Cleondris, Prolion, Brainwave, and we have our own tool called Data Infrastructure Insight. What do they do? It's mostly user behavior analysis, right? It's very important because what does it do? It gives you intelligence. It tries to understand, do I have an abnormal change in a user activity? Any of those users doing something abnormal? Are they creating a lot of files at a Sunday 2 a.m. in the morning? That's abnormal, right? Abnormal behavior patterns. Do I have patterns like this user does not behave in this way usually? Okay, so this means something wrong is happening. What do we do? Directly, the first line of action, take a snapshot, block the user, notify the administrator. So again, it gives you audit trail for you to investigate later on, understand what happened. That's very important. This is tool number 2. Tool number 3, again, a built-in system free of charge that helps you detect abnormal activity on your files, right? So it's an AI-driven on-box ransomware detection for NAS workloads. What do we monitor? Multiple signals, file entropy, file activity, file headers. So sometimes someone is trying to infect your environment without changing the file extension. How do we know that? File entropy, file activity, right? The file headers, something changing over there. This is how we can detect. It helps you detect day zero attacks as well, and that's very, very important. It auto updates, and it's effortless. You don't need to do anything. It's just there monitoring your environment. So this tool, it's an AI tool that we have, has been tested by SE Labs. So SE Labs is a company that specializes in vendor claims. They go and check, NetApp has this tool, let's test it. So they tested that with 2 types of attacks. The attacks that are very well known in the market, and new attacks that are not there that are new. They create their own tools. So from that perspective, we got on precision 100%. This means all of the attacks that we caught were 100% true attacks. So this removes false positives. Now, we got 99% on recall. What does this mean? We will able to detect 99% of the attacks. So that's very important and gives you a peace of mind that you have an automated tool that is working on your behalf, trying to detect the attack. When I told you about the snapshot, it's immutable, but if someone is compromising your administrator, they can go and delete those snapshots. What did we do? We responded in two tools. We have multi-admin verification, which means a single administrator cannot delete your snapshot. It needs more than one approval. So you're making things harder, right? SnapLock compliance is our worm capability, write once, read many, which means you create a volume, you will lock it with a specific time frame. This means whatever happens, no one can edit or delete that data until that time retention comes. Even if you come to NetApp saying, guys, I've enabled SnapLock compliance, but you know what? I need to delete it. Even NetApp engineering cannot do anything for you. This is irreversible. It's this secure, okay? And then, other than this volume, you can have tamper-proof snapshots on your primary storage as well. So you can lock specific snapshots on the main environment as well. So this is the duality that you can have. Based on that, we've created the concept called air gap cyber vault protection. This is the backup that the backup vendor tells you you need to be able to have a secure backup copy in case you've got your attack, you cannot access your main data. You need to be able to make sure this data that is backed up and locked is untouchable, or else that's a very big problem. This is where we have CyberVault. Air-gapped environment, locked, same API and orchestration suite, which helps you a lot in managing both, right? But again, it's immutable, inedible, snapshots copied and locked inside the CyberVault. Again, if you remember, I told you, if any single vendor comes and tells you, you know what, we can do everything, we can protect you, they would be lying. No one can protect you from being attacked, but what we can do is make sure that the attack is minimal and you can recover very quickly. And since we know we cannot do everything, we cannot specialize in everything, we integrate with a lot of partners for virus detection, for data protection and backup, for user behavior analysis, and for XDR and SIM. These are the vendors that we integrate with, that we work together a lot. Based on everything that I've told you, we have some ransomware protection programs. The first one is the ransomware recovery guarantee. This is how much we are confident in our solution. And we're confident that in case you got attacked, we will make sure 100% that you will get access to your data. If we did not give you access to your data with our tool deployed, we will compensate you with money. So again, ransomware recovery guarantee. Okay, very important, very nice program. In case you got attacked, we have a team 24 hours dedicated to help you with a phone call, to log in and help you recover your data very quickly as well, part of the program. Another program is ransomware detection program. If you remember in the ARP, I told you we have 99% recall. This means we detected 99% of the attacks. So this 1% that we did not detect gave us a headache. So we created a ransomware detection program. What is this program? Right? In the event of NetApp does not detect an attack with ARP AI, the ransomware detection program helps you to recover with NetApp professional services free of charge. Again, try to make sure we're covering you from every single aspect. Ransomware, BlueXP ransomware protection, we have a new capability, very nice. It's called advanced recovery option. You can now simulate attack and recovery via readiness drills. You can do drills to make sure, okay, I have everything laid out, everything deployed. How can I test? Is this working or no? You can create a drill, simulate your attack, and make sure you are ready. Okay. Again, as I told you, ARP AI is only for files. But in NetApp, we're working very closely, and we should be able to get this feature very soon throughout calendar year 2025, is ARP for block. What does this mean? So let's assume you have a VMware environment via FCP protocol, block environment in your data center. We can now try to detect abnormal behaviors even in block, not only in file. That's very important, right? So it helps you have an extra layer of security, not only on your file share, but even on your block workloads as well. So as you can see, NetApp is working very closely in the anti-ransomware, right? 2004, our SnapLock capability, 2006, our F policy, multi-factor administrator, the ransomware protection program, again, ARP, AI. So all of those are very important. And this is how we're focused on security. Again, we're the only storage enterprise to be enterprise vendor to be validated for top secret data. Commercial solutions for classified components, FIPS 142, Department of Defense list, approved list, common criteria, right? So again, NetApp becomes the first and only until now storage vendor to have validated from the NSA for security and encryption. This means we're the only vendor that is certified to sell. We're certified to sell in that environment. Okay? And this shows you a lot how much we're focused on that. This is why we can easily say we are the most secure storage system on the planet because of everything that we're doing. Again, this is a summary of what we do from a security perspective: multi-factor authentication, layered encryption, snapshot copies and integration, worm capability, secure boot, everything is focused from NetApp perspective around our capabilities. Value-added services, active IQ, actionable intelligence, right? It helps you address issues before they become problems. As an example, we have an algorithm that monitors the behaviors of disks. If we smell that a disk might fail in the near future, we open a case, we ship out a disk before that disk fails, and we tell you to replace it automatically, right? So we help you reduce time on storage operations, and then we help you to do forecasting on your performance and capacity. We help you discover best practices and make sure you don't have gaps in your environment. Storage efficiencies. We have a program to give you storage efficiency guarantee across your block workloads. As an example, 4:1 for block workloads, 1.5:1 to NAS. Again, this is a great value. We give you a guaranteed letter that we will honor the 4:1, and in case you didn't get 4:1, we will compensate the extra capacity. Storage lifecycle program. Again, that's a very nice program, again, that helps you make sure that after 3 years, if you're inside that program, you can replace your controllers with a newer model free of charge, and then NetApp will do that for you without any disruptions. That's a great tool that you can do as well. Managed services upgrade. Let's assume your environment, you don't have really certified engineers and they're afraid to do upgrades. I see that a lot in environments. Customers tell me, you know what, I have not upgraded the environment. I'm afraid of doing disruptions. This program helps you have one upgrade every 6 months done by NetApp. A project manager will reach out to you, will plan the project, will plan the upgrade, we will action it, we will make sure everything is up and running, no disruptions, once every 6 months. Professional services. We have a great professional services team across the region, especially in the UAE as well. They help you discover your environment, integrate, optimize, deploy, all of that from our side. Support account manager. is another very nice tool. What does Support Account Manager do? The Support Account Manager makes sure that keeps with it's a paid tool, by the way. It helps you make sure. I'm really sorry. Can you still see my screen, Anna?
No, it's not visible actually.
Okay, let me share it again. You can see it now, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, very good. So the account manager, it makes sure it gives you monthly and quarterly reviews, it gives you life cycle management reports, right? Gives you proactive support, upgrade advice. It gives you education, makes sure your teams are educated on the new technologies from NetApp. Even reactive support. When you open a case, they follow up and make sure you are very well served and your case is escalating very quickly. NetApp support, again, we have multiple tiers of support, expert, advisor, basic. All of those are world-class options for you to have whatever you need and make sure your environment is really supported. Now, if you see, this is the end of my, like I'm ending right now with the hardware. You might ask yourself, now you're talking about the hardware? Yes, why? Because we don't really rely on the hardware. We understand that the hardware is a commodity for us. All of the intelligence, all of the focus is inside ONTAP, right? This is kind of a commodity. What dictates what hardware I give you? Performance and scalability. As simple as that. Because all of the features and functions are available in there. So as you can see in here, we have different types of performance tiers and even function features and functions. So we have two flavors of ONTAP. We have the unified ONTAP that I've told you about. It gives you SAN, NAS, S3. And we've created a ONTAP flavor that is block only, SAN only. It gives you only block protocols, FCP, iSCSI, NVMe over TCP, NVMe over FC, right? So the first tier is performance flash, sub-millisecond latency based on TLC disks, very fast, very performant. You have both, performance flash unified, performance flash SAN only. The second tier is, the one is in red, capacity flash, capacity flash, unified capacity flash ASA. The capacity flash is based on QLC disk, which gives you an all-flash system, very decent performance, hundreds of thousands of IOPS, but it gives you 2 to 5 millisecond latency. I'm sorry, can you still see my screen?
No, it's gone actually.
Okay. I'm not sure what's happening. Give me a second. One second.
Still
Sorry
not
about
visible.
that. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. One second. Okay. Share my screen. You can see my screen now, right?
Yeah, it's visible now.
Okay. 1 minute. Okay, now you can see it
Yes,
in a good way,
full
right?
screen. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So again, as we were saying, performance flash, capacity flash, and then the hybrid storage, which is unified but is based on nearline SAS disk for use cases such as archiving, backup, and these kind of things. Okay. Other than ONTAP appliances, we have, as I told you, our object storage called Storage Grid. This is a great environment for unstructured data, S3 protocol. It scales to hundreds of thousands of petabytes, hundreds of petabytes. We have environments, 200, 300 petabytes worldwide, scales up to 16 sites, an amazing environment. Another one called E-Series, I'm sure a lot of you that know NetApp knows that. E-Series is a very nice environment, very nice box that is targeted usually for HPC, analytics, CCTV, right? These kind of things. The last one is we have a very nice integration with Cisco. I'm really sorry about that. You can still see my screen, right?
Yes, Ali, we can see.
Okay. So again, FlexPod is a nice integration, is a converged infrastructure that includes virtualization, VMware, Microsoft Red Hat, Cisco UCS servers, Cisco Nexus, right? And NetApp storage system. Simplified environment, very scalable, based on reference architecture from all of the vendors that I've mentioned. At the end of the day, I want to really thank you for your time today. Please, please scan the QR code. We need to know your feedback. That's very important for us. Okay? Thank you, Anna. Thank you, the entire team. I'm sure if you had some questions, you've placed them um, in the environment. We would see, I'm sure Amir has already answered your questions. Please, we are ready to support you in any requirement that you have. We are ready to have extra sessions with you and your teams whenever you have requirements to do workshops for them. We're ready for that.